rather than choking and dying like I do.
Yeah, I lose plenty of runs to that too.
Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. Press play. Press play. Press play.
Drop timings for the week. There is actually a really good change this week, which I'm super excited for. The behemoth is finally leashed to the center of the stage, and you can just drop in whenever.
Yeah.
Drop timings for the week do still matter for the global timings. So for the ice, that's going to matter on your drop timing. But currently with the global timing, dropping immediately is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Unless like you need something super specific like that for the ice to do for you, then yeah, it's not a huge deal when you go in.
Builds for the week. For both of our runs that we posted, the build that we were using was 6 Berserker, 6 Conduit, 6 Overpower, 6 Rage, 6 Rage Hunter, 3 Discipline, and 3 Wild Frenzy. This is with the Riftstalker Strikers and the Pangar Lantern. I think this is a super good kind of like just safe sweat build.
Yeah, it's a pretty generic like build if you're trying to get near like get top times or near top times, or even just like, especially like if you just want to be like a board time. It's a really just plain but solid build.
Very good perk economy. It does a ton of damage. There's nothing super special about it. There's nothing bad about it. It's just it will get in there and it'll do damage really well.
Yeah, and it gives you, since you're able to do Berserker 6 instead of Predator, it gives you that freedom to go and get hit by the enrage, to have the Mercy iframes to go and get a free interrupt without having to worry about getting hit by quills or ice or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly why we run the 6 Berserker instead of the 6 Predator. As for the sweat build, which I think is the way to go, build is 6 Conduit, 6 Overpower, 6 Rage, 6 Rage Hunter, 3 Berserker, 3 Cunning, 3 Discipline. And this is with the Shroud Strikers, Tragic Echo, and Embermane's Lantern. And there's a couple variations on this build. It doesn't have to run Tragic Echo, but I think it's much better if you do run Tragic Echo. It ups the difficulty, but obviously it ups the amount of time you're able to get as well. This build, obviously with the Tragic Echo, is designed to die at a key moment in the fight to get that extra 100% damage for 15 seconds, which can really give you a much quicker time because of that. Also with the Shroud unique effect, you want to be under 20% HP. With the 3 Berserker, if you have, I've run plus 15 armor for everything. So I tank 1 quill and the rage, and that puts me down to 90 HP and then gives me that 50% additional damage. It's a really strong build. The hardest thing about it is just when to die, the timing of the death.
Exactly. That's like the most key part. You have so much that you can die from. Like it gives you plenty of opportunity to die. It's about more like you want to die at the time you need to, with him being like fairly tame. So when you come out of Echo, you can be on him instantly.
Yeah, you want to make the most use out of the Echo. This build specifically runs Embermane's Lantern to get off 3 claps during the Tragic Echo. So you should have like a clap already ready to go when you die. Pop Embermane's Lantern attack speed to get even more attack speed and try to get off those 3 claps.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's like what the tap is for, so you can like get those claps in. Because if you don't have the tap, it's a little harder to get all 3 claps you want, and I think you need at least 3 in Echo to really like secure a kill.
A variation you could have put on this build is you could take out the 3 Berserker and put in 3 more Cunning to get up to 6 Cunning, and then take out the Cyclonic Strike Plate and actually put in Echo Brace Driver. This is possible of more damage, but it's extremely lucky. You have to rely on luck for this variation. Has more potential.
Yeah, like if you get the right run with that setup with the 6 Cunning, you have so much damage because of you'll have like in the Echo you should get a stagger immediately. So most of your claps should have the OP of that. He'll be enraged. That if you're hitting those crits with the bonus on Cunning, it's gonna be huge in the Echo. It's gonna be massive.
So lanterns for the week. I think it's another week where really any lantern works. I'm a really big fan of Pangar. It's super good this week. I mean, the health damage is always very welcome.
He gets chilled really fast. Yeah, he gets a chill state quick.
I really like Pangar Lantern here. I called out Embermane for the Tragic Echo, and that's specifically because you just need that attack speed. Embermane, I think, is completely viable this week as well. I mean, I ran it with some other builds and it worked just fine. Same with Drast. Drast is also really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, even the hold, he's a pretty big behemoth. You get some decent use out of the hold, and the tap. You're using the tap at the right times, you get some big damage out of the Drast tap, like always.
I would go with whatever you're comfortable with. I think Pangar is the easiest to implement and use because you just have to spam that hold every single time it's up. But I mean, use whatever you're comfortable with. Comfortability, I think, is the most important. Potions for the week is once again just the 3 classics: the Aether Drive, the Blitz Tonic, and the Frenzy. No real need to go Stagger Tonic. His stagger comes at perfect timing right after the boop already. It's not going to provide a second stagger already in the run, so I don't think it's super important. Once again, like, you can, if you're not going for a sweat, if you just want a sub 3, you could rock Stagger Potion to get some more stagger states out of him, but I think you're just better off rocking Pangar and Aether Drive and getting him chilled more often.
Yeah. Because his staggers, if the boops, especially if you get the interrupts consistently, whether through eating the enrage or what have you, his staggers come pretty quick regardless. I think his stagger threshold's very high.
I don't think any weapons running any weird mods for the week either.
I think Chainblades actually, I think if you wanted to, you could use Boreas Chainblades on him, and then you would want to use Momentum. I know, because Boreas Chainblades work better with momentum. They do serrated, they get more damage out of it.
Yes, and then another thing is, for this week in particular, is frost damage is increased as a modifier. That's including the behemoth and us. So frost weapons actually deal more damage than any other weapon type. The only reason we're not using them for sweat builds is just because frost weapons suck. And they force us to bring a defensive slot, which is worse than the small amount of damage increase. Viable weapons for the week. I think this week, every weapon's viable.
Yeah, I think so.
So Aether Striker is definitely viable. Hammer, viable. Sword, super viable. Chainblade, absolutely. Pike is actually going to be probably one of the weapons that struggles a little bit. Pike isn't able to wound. His back legs are the only spot you can actually wound before breaking off the quills. So Pike is going to struggle a little bit, but I think it's still definitely very, very possible to get a sub 3 with Pike.
If you know what you're doing with the weapon, you maybe get a sub 3 with it, but it's probably the one that's going to struggle the most because of the spikes, the quills.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's definitely doable. If Pike is your favorite weapon, you're super comfortable with it. Axe, I think, is pretty much the exact same. It's doable. There's nothing about this trial that is super anti-Axe. I think the worst thing is going to be the stamina modifier. Axe likes to sit at 0 stamina, and so dodging attacks is very hard sometimes with 0 stamina. Repeaters, I also think, is super viable. Quillshot's a pretty long boy. You can line up the full bore. Or Marksman Chamber, actually. Marksman Chamber has been doing really good after its buff. It's actually quite strong.
Yeah, I know Marksman's strong, but yeah, there's plenty of him for the full board to go through too. So I think they'd both be just fine.
Mistakes in your run or improvements you're looking to make. To start off with my run, I actually thought my run was pretty damn clean. Honestly, the biggest mistake I had is my part breaks were right back to back. They happen almost at the same exact time. So I don't get super good overpower mistakes with that. I could have probably shaved off like maybe 3 seconds if I had some better overpower, maybe 2 seconds, something like that. But other than that, I think it's actually a pretty clean run. My biggest regret was actually using the Riftstalker build.
For the build I used, I had a pretty solid run for that build. And the one in my 55 that I have up, the 2 things that I kind of wish were different was, I think on the second boop, I was doing my combos, I did all my combos, and he was out of range of 1. It wasn't huge. He was out of range of my left, like my all light attack. So after missing that, I just did the LRR. So it cost me like a second, and that hit it and then pushed me close enough to the LL. And then that was like at like 50 seconds, and I already had my breaks for like 48, something like that. And I started to repot. I was going to repot just my Frenzy because I had a clap ready. I was going to repot that, clap, and just try to end the run real quick. And he started to attack, so I canceled the pot and like rolled under him and clapped. And then he died 2 hits after that. So if I'd never even stopped to like mess with the pot, it would have been a little faster too. Yeah. So for that build, I think it was a good run other than those 2 little things.
Yeah, I think that build produces really super clean runs, honestly. But obviously the Shroud just produces better runs. Strategy inside the arena. This is a pretty brawly fight. As soon as you land, you're going to want to go right into your mantra combo, getting your buffs up and then rolling through your mantras and everything. He gives you quite a long time right after landing before he actually starts throwing out any kind of threatening attacks. So you have quite a bit of time to build up your damage. And he should do 2 quill attacks before enraging. After he does his 2 quill attacks, he'll enrage. And it's very important that you actually get hit by this enrage. This will make the run so much simpler. If you get hit by the enrage, you'll have mercy iframes. You get to dodge the quills that he sends out for his enrage. You get to dodge the ice that should probably be coming on global cooldown. And you'll also dodge the ice that comes off his enrage. You dodge those 3 things by getting hit by this super low damage enrage bubble. Just get hit by it.
And then you just get to go walk up to him and just knock him over.
The stagger should come shortly after the boop.
Yeah, and depending on your focus, if you're on the head or even like build using, you'll get the stagger either he'll do 2 boops if you let him in his rage. Depending on the build and where you focus, you can get the stagger either before the second boop, or at worst you usually catch it on the second boop. If at worst case scenario, usually boop him a second time and then get a stagger there. And
hopefully if your damage is high enough, he should be dying shortly after that. If not, you got some good damage opportunity when he's de-enraging, and you can just go through the cycle again.
Unfortunately, watch losing your claps to his quills. And I know it can actually affect multiple weapons. Like you said, I think an axe.
Yep.
I can't remember which cycle it was, if it was last one or the one before, but I had it block a Reaper's Dance with chain blades.
Just to reiterate that, the Quillshot quills actually have a hitbox and are able to eat damage sometimes. So some of the examples we had was the Striker's Clap can get eaten by Quillshot quills.
The primary two, the stagger damaging one, the big hit, yeah.
Axe Throw and the Chain Blade Reaper's Dance. There's probably other examples out there, but just keep that in mind. Whenever he's throwing out quills, you can hit those quills themselves. So be careful. Top times of the week. For solos, top time right now is 40 seconds.
Realistically, I think someone might hit a 38, maybe. That's like more realistic.
I'm sticking with 40 seconds, actually. I can see a 38. I think 40 is pretty solid, though.
We'll see if things get pushed a little more.
All right. Top 5. So currently it's 47. I think it could definitely go down to like 45, sub 45 seconds.
That's pretty possible, yeah.
Top 100 for solos. And that's at 130. I'm thinking maybe like 115.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds like it'd be probably pretty right, honestly.
For groups, top is sitting at 25. I actually think it can go much faster, actually. I'm thinking like 17.
We were struggling having everyone dodge the ice. And you should have seen inside our trial run, the people were teleporting everywhere. I don't know what was happening to us in the servers. If we aren't dealing with that and we can get the run we wanted, I think we could get like around a 118 with that on a solid run, like a 118. I mean, not 118, not 118. Oh God, no, my bad. I think we could get an 18. What I'm really impressed by, I know the number 1 time right now is Echo. I know it was Shroud. I do not think you get a better Echo time than that.
Really?
I think it's an absolutely perfect timing.
Top 5s right now is 31.
I want to say this 25 might get pushed to like 5th.
Yeah, I was actually about to say that. I think sub 25 for 5th right now.
I think 25 will be closer to like a 5th place time.
And then top 100, it is already sub 1. I think at the beginning of the week, I said 45 seconds, sub 45. I might even go sub 40 this week, actually.
I mean, there's a 41 duo.
Yeah, I'm saying 40 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's a really good time to say. I think that's probably about it.
I think that's pretty aggressive, but same thing I said last week. People have been so sweaty, so sweaty. Hey guys, don't forget to leave a comment down below if you missed anything. And if you like the content, think about subscribing. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers for Dauntless Partner, so I really appreciate it if you guys do.